Hey guys, my name is Mackenzie and welcome back to my channel and welcome to my TBR jar picks my reads for March. It's been a while since I sat down and filmed a TBR video. I didn't do a TBR last month for February. I'm not gonna lie, I just am so bad at sticking to TBRs. I'm realizing that I'm more of a mood reader, but I promise you guys, this is going to be the month that I finally stick to my TBR. But I'm actually really excited to film this video because I added more prompts to my TBR jar, and I also added a bunch of new books to my cart. And you'll probably see though that a couple of these books have been on my TBR for a while if you watched my previous videos. I think I'm gonna pick 6 prompts and 6 books for this video just because I read around 10 books per month, so I feel like 6 is a good number to hold myself accountable to getting through my TBR this month. Without further ado, let's just hop right into the video and pick the first prompt. I don't know why, but I always get really nervous picking the first prompt because I feel like that just sets the bar for the TBR. All right, so for prompt number 1, we have, it's a long one. Okay, a book by one of your favorite authors. I think I have a couple options for this. Okay, so I have a couple options for this one. The first book is Masters of Death by Olivia Blake. She is one of my favorite authors. If you don't know, she is the author of The Atlas Six, Alone with You in the Ether, which is one of my favorite books, and One for My Enemy. I love her writing, and this book has been on my TBR for a while. I believe this came out back in August. I just love this cover, and what I also love about her books is that a lot of them contain like illustrations and drawings. So when I open this up, like, it's just so stunning. I love the inside of this book. The second option I have is Love Theoretically by Allie Hazelwood. She's also another one of my favorite authors. What I love about her books is that she writes a lot about women in STEM, and a lot of her romances are also pretty steamy. And I believe that this one is an academic rivals to lovers, which is one of my favorite tropes. I read 3 of her books last month, and I also read a lot of romances, so I don't know if I'm in the mood to pick up another romance right now. I think I'm gonna put this one back though, just in case I pick up a romance prompt. My third option I have is Legendary by Stephanie Garber. She's another one of my favorite authors, and if you didn't know, she wrote the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy, which is one of my favorite trilogies I've ever read. It's behind me. I don't know if you can see. I absolutely love those books so much. I believe this is the second book to the Carvel series. I read the first one back in January, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't love it, so I don't think I'm gonna read this one just yet. So I think for this first prompt, pick a book by one of your favorite authors. I'm gonna go with Masters of Death by Olivia Blake. I also feel like this is the perfect book to put on my March TBR because I just associate March with St. Patrick's Day and with green, and the cover is green, so I just feel like this is perfect. For prompt number 2, we have a book you think will make you cry. I don't know why, but I feel like every time I do these TBR videos, I always pick up this prompt. All right, so I have a couple options for this just because I'm a girl who loves sad books. So the first option I have is a book called Letters to the Lost. I don't really know too much about this book. I recently got it in the mail, but on the back it says, can you fall in love with someone you've never met? Juliet is drowning in grief after her mother's death. Deacon is trying to escape the demons of his past. The summary says, leaving handwritten letters on her mother's grave is the only way Juliet can process her loss. When Deacon finds a letter and answers it anonymously, they continue writing back and forth, not knowing who is on the other side. Juliet is instantly intrigued by this stranger who understands the loss she feels. I also kind of want to read this just because I haven't seen many people talk about this book. Another option I have is I Fell in Love with Hope, but I don't really think I'm in the mood to read that one. And then the third option I have is a book that's been on my TBR for so long, and that is Pack Up the Moon by Kristen Higgins. This one also contains letter writing, which is one of my favorite tropes. I love when the characters write letters back and forth, but I believe in this one that the wife actually dies and the husband keeps finding letters from her. Yeah, so on the back of this it says, every month a letter. That's what Lauren decides to leave her husband when she finds out she's dying. Each month she gives Josh a letter containing a task to help him face this first year without her, leading him on a heart-rending, beautiful, often humorous journey to find happiness again in this new novel. So these are the 2 books that I'm in between that I think will make me cry. I think it's kind of funny how both of them also contain letter writing, and I don't know which one to pick. Each of them seems really interesting, and this one has been on my TBR for a while, and then this one I haven't really heard much people talk about, so I don't know which one to choose. Both of these seem really sad and interesting, but I think I'm gonna go with Pack With the Moon just because it has been on my TBR for a long time. Also, I've seen nothing but great things about this book, and I feel like it's finally time for me to read it. For prompt number 3, we have A book that matches your outfit. I feel like this is going to be tricky. Okay, so I'm wearing white, and this shirt that I'm wearing is actually Taylor Swift inspired. It has a bunch of bows on it, and the bows are actually inspired by each different era and each different album of Taylor Swift, which is just so cool. So I feel like I had to find a book that has white in it, but also a bunch of different colors. And right away, I only see two options for this prompt. So the first book I have is called Omen of Ice. I don't really know too much about this book. I received this from Outcrates, and the cover is just stunning. It also has sprayed edges, and wait until you see the inside. Like, it's just giving me very much like winter vibes. Even though this one's white, I feel like it doesn't really match my outfit too much just because it is mostly white and blue. The only other option I have for this prompt is this book right here called You Can Make This Place Beautiful. I feel like the cover of this book just matches my sweatshirt more just because it is white but also has some greens, some pinks and yellows, which my shirt also has. This is a memoir, and it's been a while since I've read a memoir. Also, I think the cover of this book kind of just screams springtime, so I'm really excited to read this. I feel like so far I have a really good variety of books on my TBR, so let's see what we get for prompt number 4. And I probably just jinxed myself by saying that. Alright, so for prompt number 4, another long one. I need to stop picking up all these long ones. A book that has been on your TBR for a while. I did just jinx myself because I was like, oh, this is going so well. And of course I pick up this prompt. And I feel like if a book has been on my TBR for a while, that just means I haven't either like been in the mood to read it or I'm scared to read the book. Right away, I know that there are 2 books in here that have been on my TBR for over a year. The first one is Babel by R.F. Kuang. And the second book that has been on my TBR for a while is Crooked Kingdom by Leah Bardugo. I never read a book by R.F. Kuang, and I don't know why, but Babel just intimidates me. I'm always like, oh, I'm gonna get around to reading it this month, and then I never do. I think I'm just scared to read it. So I think for this prompt, pick a book that has been on your TBR for a while. I'm going to go with A Crooked Kingdom just because I've been wanting to read this for so long, and I loved Six of Crows. The only reason I've been putting off this book for so long is because I read Six of Crows last year, so I feel like I'm gonna have to reread Six of Crows before I hop into Crooked Kingdom. But I think it is time for me to finally finish this duology, and I can't wait to hop back into this world. Alright, for prompt number 5, we have a book with a pink cover. I'm so excited I got this one because I have a couple pink books on my TBR. So I have 3 books that have pink in the cover. The first one is Persuasion by Jane Austen, and I've been wanting to dive into her books recently. The second option I have, which I talked about before, is Letters to the Lost. I don't really know if this counts though because I feel like this isn't entirely pink. There is mostly like purples and blues and a little bit of yellow in this book, so I feel like I'm gonna rule this one out. I also have this pink book right here called Say You'll Be Mine. This is a romance book, and I believe it is a marriage of convenience. I think though for this prompt, pick a book with a pink cover. I'm gonna go with Persuasion by Jane Austen just because I've been really wanting to dive into her books. I read Pride and Prejudice a couple of years ago and I love that book, so I think it is finally time for me to read this one. I'm just obsessed with this cover. I feel like this book just screams springtime, and the inside of it is also just so pretty. This is actually a collector's edition that I got from Barnes & Noble. If you didn't watch my vlog where I went book shopping, this is one of the books that I bought. It's also been a while since I read a classic, so I'm really excited to read this, and we shall see if I like it or not. We're already on to the final prompt. Prompt number 6, we have a book with blue in the cover. Okay, so I just picked a pink book and now I have to pick a blue book. I'm gonna go with Beartown by Frederick Backman just because I started this book last month. I'm only like 20% into the book, but since I'm currently reading it, I definitely know for sure that this is going to be a book that I will finish, so I'm gonna put it on my TBR. And then that way I can say I read at least one book that was on my physical TBR. So since I already have one book on my TBR that I'm currently reading, I'm gonna pick one more prompt just because I'm having so much fun. And so let's just pick another one, you know, because why not? And let's see what we get for the final prompt. Oh, I picked up 2. Let me drop 1. Okay. A book with a number in the title. I don't even know if I have any options for this. Wow, I lied. I have 2 options, and these are 2 books I've been wanting to read for a while. So the first option I have is 7 Days in June. I've been wanting to read this, but since it has June in the title, I think I'm gonna save this book for the summer because I also believe it is a summer second chance romance. So I think I'm gonna go with 2 Twisted Crowns for this prompt. I've been wanting to read this so badly. I read One Dark Window back in October and I really enjoyed that book. I don't know why I didn't pick up the second book yet. I believe I rated One Dark Window 4.5 stars, and I heard a lot of people say that they actually liked the second book more. I also want to add this book to my TBR because one of my goals in 2024 is to get through duologies and series that I'm in the middle of, and I'm in the middle of a lot. I don't know what it is, I'm just so bad at finishing series. And if I finish this book, that means I will complete another series. So this is going to be the final book that I add to my March TBR. So that brings us to the end of this video. Let's do a quick recap of the books that are on my TBR for March. For prompt number 1, pick a book by one of your favorite authors. We have Masters of Death by Olivia Blake. For prompt number 2, pick a book that you think will make you cry. I decided to go with Pack Up the Moon by Kristen Higgins. Prompt number 3, a book that has been on your TBR for a while. I went with Cricket Kingdom. Prompt number 4, a book that matches your outfit. I went with You Can Make This Place Beautiful by Maggie Smith. Prompt number 5, a book with a pink cover. I decided to go with Persuasion by Jane Austen. Prompt number 6, a book with a blue cover. I went with Beartown by Frederick Backman. And finally, for the last prompt, a book with a number in the title. I decided to go with Two Twisted Crowns. You know, I feel like the TBR jar did a pretty good job this month because we have a good variety of books here for March. It looks like I'm going to be reading some fantasy, a memoir, and some general fiction books that will probably make me cry, so I'm really excited for March. Let me know in the comments down below what kind of videos you guys want me to do in March. If you want to see some reading vlogs or maybe some book haul videos. I have a book haul video coming up, I believe, shortly, so stay tuned for that. Also, if you read any of these books, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and also tell me what books you guys are reading this month. And if you made this far in the video, comment your favorite green emoji. I'm so excited to see what March brings. Thank you guys so much for watching my video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!